please explain the importance of what the food industry refers to as the mouthfeel and tricking our brains to eat more?
Yeah, so you gotta love, and I fell in love with the language that the industry uses when they're talking to each other about how to maximize the appeal of their products. We talked about the bliss point, the perfect amount of sugar, right, in products, not too little, not too much. They engineer that intentionally. And it's not just that they engineer a bliss point for sweetness and things that should be sweet. Soda, ice cream, soda. They've moved around the grocery store adding sugar to things that didn't used to be sweet before, right? So now bread has added sugar, bliss point for sweetness. Yogurt came to have as much sugar per serving as ice cream. Spaghetti sauce. Oh my God, you can some of the brands had the equivalent of a couple of Oreo cookies with the sweetness in a tiny half-cup serving of spaghetti sauce. And what that did was told us to expect sweetness in everything we eat. So when you go over to the produce aisle, where all of us should be spending more time eating things like broccoli or broccoli rabe or things that maybe have a little bitter note to them, sourness, the brain is going to go, whoa, take me back to the middle of the grocery store for that sweet stuff. Sweetness. Salt, we talked about flavor burst, right? Adding salt to everything creates a buzz in the reward center of the brain. So oil is a really key component of processed food for a couple of reasons. One, it gets the food to the point where you don't even have to chew it. It melts in your mouth. And in fact, cheese puffs, right? So you put one of those in your tongue. The industry figured out that when you press it against the roof of your mouth, it melts in your mouth, right? And when that happens, that sends a signal to the brain, telling the brain that the calories have disappeared. So no problem, Michael. You might as well just keep eating the whole bag, right? Because the calories are gone. They call that the vanishing caloric density, right? So that's one thing that they're going for. And you can do this experiment yourself. Look in the grocery store. Snack foods have a formula where 50% of the calories are coming from the oil. That's when you know it's a product you should be really aware of. So the other big part about oil is it provides what they call the mouthfeel. It's that sensation of biting into a warm toasted cheese sandwich. And you can probably tell I'm more of a fat salt kind of guy than I am a sugar guy because my brain is lighting up right now just thinking about that. But they call it the mouthfeel because it sends a signal to the reward center of your brain, exciting it and telling you to get more of that mouthfeel oil stuff.
Can you also speak about the deception of nutrition facts on labels?
Yeah, I used to think that the nutrition facts box, right? That little box on the side of packages, usually it's tiny print. If you're getting older, you got to put your glasses on to read it. I thought that was our best friend because it would tell us what's inside the product. Because if you go back to the 1990s, these companies didn't even have to list their ingredients, much less kind of break down the formulations of them. But I've come to have second thoughts about that because that information, well, first off, many people don't look at that. But people who do look at it get really confused because it is really confusing. They're talking about grams, right? I mean, what is a gram of something, right? They're talking in these percentages, daily serving. How am I supposed to know, how this package relates to kind of what I eat during the whole day? Some of the stuff in that nutrition facts box are for things we should be getting more of, like calcium and fiber. And some of it is for stuff we should be getting less of, like sugar and saturated fats, but they don't even put it that way. And then I discovered that while some nutrition advocates were pushing to have that put on package labels and got the law passed, the industry loved it because they knew the psychology behind that. And the psychology is that some people call us infovores. We love information for information's sake. And the industry realized that they put all these fancy numbers on there with the government stamp. That's going to trick us into thinking this food is actually good for us. Because there's all these numbers there. It must be good, right? It's there, the facts and da, 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 da.
I got caught up the other day because I was looking at some little plant-based cookies, right?
Yeah.
And I said, man, the sugar's not that bad. But the serving size was only 2 cookies. And I never in my life would just sit there and eat 2 cookies. I'd probably eat about 8 cookies.
And they
That'd
know
put me
that.
at 100%.
Yep.
added sugar.
Yep, and the companies know that. They did their own research showing, and this is like some years ago, where they, 33% of the people that they surveyed, confessed to eating like the whole bag of something that has 5 or 6 servings. And those are just the people confessing. Probably another, third, like, were embarrassed and not wanting to confess it. So not only do they do that, but they know that it's misleading for us. But that's another way that's kind of deceptive.